It is common knowledge that the default weapons of Team Fortress 2 are most oftentimes the best choice for every player. You don't need a single unlockable for Sniper to have the perfect set of overpowered tools to slay players from countries away with bare minimum effort. Same with Demoman, all you need to do to have the most destructive set unlocked is simply installing the damn game. Out of all the stock weapons, there are also the holy grails that players will love, worship and most oftentimes never swap no matter what. Like the default Medigun for medic, which makes you and your patient shiny, trusty rocket launcher for the soldier, or the Scattergun, which I will be talking about today. How awesome is that? More specifically, I will be changing your entire view on this seemingly simple weapon, because I am here to shatter everything you previously knew about Scout's gameplay. I will change how you perceive this game entirely, and I'll do it using one very weirdly shaped gun. The backscatter. Hello everyone and welcome to another stupid video about video games where the topic is so specific and so random you are more likely to win a lottery rather than understanding my point. As stated in the title, thumbnail or on that billboard outside your home, the backscatter is a better primary weapon for Scout. And to stop everyone from spewing pure acid in the comments, I am not talking about statistics because the default scattergun is the best weapon statistically, no surprise here, but it's not the best weapon mentally. Sure, you can play Scout the same way you have been playing since the dinosaurs were trending on Twitter, but why do that if you can enhance your Scout experience, jump on another level of game knowledge, and gain all the required skill to become a god on each pub server you're going to join? If that sounds somewhat appealing to you, then come hop on the backscatter train with me, because I'm about to implode your nuts. First things first, the blue and red text under the weapon of this video, so let's start with the blue one that says you do giga damage when smelling the ass cracks of your enemies. And now let's check out the blue text of the Scattergun. And yep, just as I expected, the Scattergun has no plus sides. As you can see, I have clearly proven the superiority of the backscatter over the normie Scattergun. Thanks for watching, have a lovely day. Alright, there's also the red text, but we'll get to it later. The main gimmick of this weapon is that it will do more damage if you hit your enemies from behind. But since you're not playing Spy, this might be a little harder than it seems. Or is it? Welcome to the first lesson the backscatter is unintentionally teaching you, the positioning. Scout's movement speed is the fastest, and combined with the double jump or some radioactive juice, it allows you to get practically everywhere. By using this weapon, you are encouraged to look for opportunities where your enemies will be turned around, which means you are encouraged to take fights that are in your favor from the start. By using the default scattergun, you rarely think about where you are and what fights you should or shouldn't take. You just shoot at the enemies, try to close distance to output as much damage, and frag or die trying. Scattergun doesn't teach you nothing, but with the reward of the mini crit from the backscatter end, you have a clear indicator. Hey, you! Player, you're doing phenomenal. Sneaking around as Scout and getting to the enemy's backlines is one thing, but quickly maneuvering in the moment while the fight is happening around you is another. Enter the second lesson of backscatter, which is abusing your mobility in tight situations. Let's say you walk around the corner and meet a wild heavy weapons guy from the enemy team. The typical scattergun user will try to move unpredictably to avoid damage, which is perfectly fine, but the true backscatter enjoyer will try his best to gain access to that sweet ass cheek region to cause some real back pain. Yes, you can do that on the scattergun too, but there is nothing actively telling you that this is the most optimal way to output damage. With the backscatter, your mobility is encouraged to be used to its fullest, so not only the speed, but also the double jump might come in handy in those scary situations. Just like a spy, you can always try to jump around your target to disorient them even more, plus get a sneaky shot or two on the way. And speaking of shots, let's talk about that next. The first red line of text that is horrifying is that clip size reduction, but once again, we are not talking about the statistics advantage, but the experience advantage. Lesson number 3, you better make sure all of your shots count, because you don't have many of them. Let me acknowledge the elephant in the room that are the force of nature and soda poppers. Yes, they have even less ammo, but they are fired in a quick succession, so it's less of a smaller clip, but more of a one-shot opportunity, and if you screw it up, then have fun staring at that respawn timer. There's also the shortstop, The smaller clip size encourages the player to think twice before dishing out damage. Are my 4 shots enough to kill that guy so I can safely reload afterwards? Is it worth to poke the enemies from afar if someone can easily jump me and I will be left defenseless? Why, after watching this video for such a long time, you still haven't subscribed? These are all great questions which the backscatter makes you think about. Thanks to this weapon, your ammo awareness will rise through the roof. After playing this weapon for a long time, the fights you take will most oftentimes result in a clean swipe from your end thanks to that mental preparation the backscatter teaches you, and most importantly, it makes you not forget about reloading your weapon. Unless you play with auto-reload, then you're just a suboptimal human being. The 4th lesson is the finest one out of them all, because it puts all of your gameplay in your hands. No longer do you beg for a crit to happen, and no longer do you only have fun when those rare high moments happen. Everything is under your control and no dice roll is going to influence your personal score. That's it, short and sweet. And finally, the last red line is pure joy. What I haven't told you yet is why do you even want to go through all of those lessons? What's the point of all this pain you are going to face with blatantly weaker weapon where you could be running your trusty boring scattergun? You see, that's where the real fun begins. The backscatter is like getting your driving license. At the start, you're figuring things out, focusing on driving straight and not like this. You are less accurate at first, but then with more and more experience and understanding how to drive a 2002 Honda Civic, when you transfer into your favorite Lamborghini, speeding on a busy road becomes a walk in a park. And just in case, do not do that. Be a good fellow human being and act responsible on the roads, alright? Fortunately, we're talking about video games, and here you can do whatever you want. When you play with the backscatter, you start to forget about the lowered accuracy. You begin to feel like this is the norm. This is how the scout plays, and you should put even more focus on closing the distance to ensure the most amount of damage possible. But the whole point of this video is not to always play backscatter, or the backflip executioner as I called it. It serves as a guide on how to properly play scout. How important is not forgetting that you can use your mobility to gain a significant positioning and timing advantage. How much jumping around and confusing the enemies is. How important each shot that's coming out of your barrel is. And lastly, how easy the game becomes when you finally put that wonderful training toy away and let your enemies know how deadly you can be with a real weapon. If you still didn't get it, to give you a nice, simple and understandable summary, no, the backscatter isn't better than the default scattergun, but it is better at teaching an aspiring scout main how to use all of his attributes to their fullest potential. It teaches you to treat your primary weapon with more care and thought than just moving your mouse and clicking on the enemies. It gives an additional dimension to the scout's skill set, and that's why I absolutely love the backscatter. And I love how easy it makes the game feel when I swap to the default generic white boy gun back. Just some additional detail in the outro section, I truly like playing with this weapon. I like being rewarded with more damage when doing something that required skill, be it clicking on the enemy head or using my map and game knowledge to get behind my enemies. In no way, shape or form is backscatter a bad weapon either. It is significantly weaker than its default counterpart, but it's not like the red tape recorder bat or base jumper gimmicky. It's more on the same vibe as the Liberty Launcher or Lock and Load. If you enjoyed this video, then I highly encourage you to press some of those funny buttons below and comment what do you think about today's topic, and perhaps tell me if you want more TF2 content like this one. But for now, that will be it for today. Thanks for watching, have a lovely day, bye bye!